What's up guys? Today we're going to be doing something super awesome that I've been really wanting to do for a really long time. If you haven't noticed in my videos, my dashboard has a dash cover on it. You can see it's just this kind of plastic shell that goes over the top. That's because when I bought my car, the dash was severely cracked and peeling. Basically it was curling upwards. So what it is, I cut off all of the section that was like peeling up, and I put this on top of it. The problem was I didn't adhere this down like completely. So if you can see, it's like curling up here and like warping from the sun and the heat, because I live in New Mexico. It's pretty hot here, so it hasn't really had the best life. So what I've been wanting to do for such a long time is to put a new dash in, and I finally got a new one. This is from Joseph Melnick at Z Car, so shout out to him for getting me this. It's in great condition. You know, there's no peeling or anything over here, and I'm gonna go ahead and put a dash cover on top as well in order to kind of protect this one. We don't want this one getting all damaged in the New Mexico heat as well. But today we're going to be pulling this dashboard out and swapping it with that one. So I'm super excited. It should be pretty simple. I was looking at a couple of, there's I think one video online of a guy who already has it out. He doesn't show you, but he said that pretty much there's like, I think 5 or 6 bolts that hold it in, plus a couple wiring harnesses. So we're gonna go ahead and pull everything out. The first thing we're gonna go ahead and do is remove this steering wheel. We're gonna go ahead and pull the bottom off here. For the GL models, you can just pull, see if I can get it for you guys. You pull like that, comes out. On the GLL, which is the digital dash, they have dials on here. You pull from the top, I believe. But we're gonna go ahead, there's a nut in there, pull the steering wheel off with a steering wheel puller, and then we're gonna go ahead and remove some of these trim pieces here. We're gonna go ahead and remove this piece over here, and remove the dash. And I'll go ahead and walk you guys through all of that. It's pretty easy. We will need to remove this piece down here, as well as the piece over there, the glove compartment. And then it's pretty much, there's 3 wiring harnesses that connect in here over on this side, 3 that connect over in there on that side, and then a few bolts in the center, a bolt on either side, and then a couple bolts up along the top. So it should be super easy. We're gonna go ahead and see how long it takes. We'll go ahead and time it, see how long we can do this. It will be a little bit longer for me since I'm filming everything, but hopefully we can get this out pretty quickly. So let's go ahead and start. I'm gonna grab a steering wheel puller and we'll go ahead and pull this wheel off. guys, if you were able to see, it was a little bit of a nightmare trying to get that gauge cluster out. For some reason it just didn't want to like pop forward initially, and then pretty much every single one of these the plastic tabs broke when I was trying to pull them out. This one came out pretty easily, but I think it was already broken, and these ones both broke as well. You can see the connector actually cracked on this one. It's hard to see, but I had a pretty difficult time getting that gauge cluster out, but I did get it out. It's over there now. So I think that is good. What we're going to go ahead and do next is I'm going to go ahead and remove my AC and everything. You can see I don't have a radio right now. That's just because my radio was broken and I had everything out, and so I didn't think that I'd need it to put back in. So what we're going to go ahead and do is, if you have the bezel and everything over this, you pull the little tray out on the bottom, and then there's 2 screws down here, and then there should be, I think, 2 bolts up on top, and that should pull off the front fascia. And then you have, if you can see, there's like a bolt there, or sorry, not these 2, but this one here. There would be one over here for this top part. There's a couple in the top corners, I believe, or no, they're under here. And then for the radio as well, I think it taps into a few of these. Basically, there's a few extra bolts like these ones. They are not used. They just hold, I think they actually hold the dash to this. So we're going to be taking those out for this. But in order to get the radio out, there's just a few pieces. You know what it is? It's because the radio is actually attached to this bracket. This whole thing, the climate control and the radio, comes out as one. I forgot about that. I took my radio out of this bracket. So there's just this bolt, and then 2 on top to get this whole thing out. You'll pull it forward, undo the clips from the back, and then it should be pretty easy to get out. Also, the tray, the cigarette lighter, has the tray has a light, and the cigarette lighter has a plug. But that's pretty much it for that. I'm gonna go ahead and pull this out. This is my wideband. I'll go ahead and like shimmy this out through the back as well, and then we should be pretty close to moving on to pulling this out. Alright, what we're going to go ahead and do next is we're going to go ahead and remove the glove box. So you can see right here, there's a thing in there, a thing there, a thing there, and a screw hole there. So that's where the glove box is going to go into this dash. It's also where it's going to come out of the other dash. So we're going to go ahead and make sure we get those ones off. And I'm pretty sure those are the only mounting points for the glove box to the dash. So as long as we get those, we should be good. Alright, here is the glove box in the car. You can see we have a couple Phillips heads right here that go into it. We also have under here that's 2 10 mils that hold the latch. And there's also, it's a lock as well. I forgot about that. So we're going to go ahead and do those 2. I forget exactly how this comes off, so we're going to kind of just wing it and see if we can get it. I believe we can push these tabs in and get this whole thing to drop down a little bit more for space, because we need to get those 2 Phillips heads on the bottom corners. But then once those are all out, I think this whole thing should come down. We do need to take these out because it holds it to the top right here, if I remember correctly. So 2 bolts on either side, 2 Phillips heads, and then these 2 10 mils. Alright guys, as you can see, I went ahead and got the glove box out. This cable right here is just for my Nissan. I have it running up from the ECU up into the glove box. And so what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go ahead and remove this bottom panel. It's just 2 Phillips heads, one right here and one down there. And this panel will come off and it'll let the cable slip through because there's no under bracing right here for the dash. Now if I'm being honest, when I went ahead and took this off, this light has, or this switch has these lights right here, or these cables. I can't get these off. I can't ever get this type of connector off. I don't know what it is with them. So I actually managed to break the old thing. I used a pair of vice grips like this, and I broke the old cables. They're just little leads now. So in the end, I'm pretty sure the new dash comes with one of these, a new harness for everything in here. So I'm not too worried about it. I did get the old connector stuck in this white one, if you can kind of see that. It's a little bit bright, but there's part of the old connector still stuck in there. We're gonna figure out if we even need this. I'm honestly not even sure what the button is for maybe when you lock it. No, it turns on the light. That's what it does. When you open this, it turns on the light. This little guy right here. I don't know if I really need that. In the end, if I wanted to, I could just take the light bulb out, and then it would always be off, even though it says it's open. But we'll go ahead and troubleshoot. I might just splice these wires into these guys with nice removable connectors. So I don't have this problem because these connectors they're a pain in the butt. I've tried so hard to get them off and I've just never been able to. But anyway, that's out now. We'll go ahead and remove this panel, and then we are so close to being able to remove this dash. Alright guys, so as you can see, I removed the panel right here that covers the ECU. It's just this bolt here, and there's supposed to be one in there, and maybe one in the back, I can't remember. I only had this one in, because this one never really fits, because I put the new carpet in, and it's a little bulkier than the original. I could probably cut it back and get it to fit, but the point is, we now have to go ahead. You can see this entire harness right here comes down. It's this, I think it's actually just these top two connectors. I think the digital dash might occupy the third one in the middle between them. Sorry, you guys can't really see that very well. Top, middle, or top, bottom, and then the middle might be for a digital. Mine is analog, so I don't have it, because I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be 3 on either side. But we're just going to go ahead and follow this harness here, whatever it plugs into. We're going to go ahead and unplug that now. The easiest way is always to get a flat blade, shove it under the little tab. If you guys can see that tab up in there, right in the top middle, and then just kind of pull all of the wiring and everything out with it. So we're going to go ahead and do that on both sides. Let me go ahead and show you what the other side looks like. Alright, so here we are on the driver's side. You can see we got these plugs right here. Pretty much the same thing. We just follow this dash harness and it goes to all of them. If your car is over, I think 50,000, 30,000 miles, something like that, 60,000, this is supposed to be unplugged, so don't plug it back in. If you're like, oh no, it's unplugged, it says exhaust gas sensor warning lamp. At 60,000 miles, hold the relay, the reset relay, and at 90,000, disconnect. So if you're over 90,000 miles, you'll want that disconnected. But yeah, so let's go ahead and unplug these from both sides. Alright guys, we're super close to being able to pull this out now. You can see there's a bolt right there that is one that holds in the dash. There's one very similar to the other side, just kind of go next to these clips, and it's kind of like on the dash itself. It's actually right there, and it's pointing up. It's over on that side. And the last thing that we need to do, let me see if I can show this to you guys easily. I don't think that one has any in it. I'll double check. But you can see through the dash here, there's a little kind of clip right there. That kind of little clip. We're gonna go ahead and we need to remove this trim piece that fits inside the dash. So you can see it's all right there. Oh, let me zoom out for you guys. You can see it fits right there. That trim piece covers 3 bolts that go through here, and it looks like we do need to remove this other one as well because there's one more bolt on top of that. So once we go ahead and get that out, we can go ahead and we should be able, actually, I'm wrong. There's a few bolts that we need to do in here still. So there's, you can see this is the one on that side, I believe, that we couldn't see. The one's on top, and then the other one. So I'm going to go ahead and give it my best shot to pull this apart. You can see this one is pretty damaged. Well, you might be able to see it. It's cracked right there, missing a chunk right there. So I'll probably try to super glue this together while it's out of the car. This one as well, we'll go ahead and see if we can get out. I'm probably going to use a pick. Let me show you the picks that I have. I've got this little set right here. We're going to go ahead and grab this right angle pick. So you can see it's a nice little right angle pick. And I'll try to push those tabs and pull it up. I believe that's how you do it. I'll go ahead and let you guys know how it goes once I get this done. But I'm going to go ahead and pull these top ones first. Alright guys, well I got those vents off. I'm not very happy about how it happened. They're extremely brittle and most of the tabs came off okay. But for example, this one right here, it just for some reason would not budge. You can see I've just cracked so much of this. I cracked it right there. It wasn't cracked there before. It was just so brittle. Even just prying on this tab, it cracked it. This one, it got cracked. It cracked over here, broke into a couple pieces. So I'm not very happy about that. I don't know what would make that better. Maybe spraying some penetrant on it first, because these are pretty rusted. I have absolutely no idea. But anyways, we got it off. It's pretty broken. I'll see if I can find as many of those little plastic pieces like this piece here. I don't know where it went. it shot off. I'll try to put it back together as best I can before I put this vent back in. But we're good now. It exposed the bolts. They look like just regular 10 mils. So we'll go ahead, take that one and then those 3 off. And then we should be able to get these side ones and call it a day and start pulling this entire dash out. Alright, well, you may have seen it was a little bit difficult to get it out, but here it is. Here is the old dash. You may have seen in the time lapse I had to cut this one wire. This wire right here goes to the 2 gauges up in here. Obviously I don't have mine there, I had my wideband in one, but I tied into it for a 12 volt power source. So what you're going to want to do is either cut that like I did, or if you don't have those, it should be fine. This one did bring this duct along with it, and this duct up along here. I'll go ahead and check the new one, see if it comes with anything. Other than that, there's this little rubber piece here that was right like that. I don't know exactly what it's for. We'll go ahead and transfer it over to the new one. This one has a light dimming switch. The new one does not. We'll go ahead and transfer that over as well. But other than that, it looks pretty good. One thing that I'd notice right there, I have a VIN tag. This one, obviously he took the VIN tag off. I'm gonna go ahead, see if I can pull this one out, glue it onto that one. It's not gonna look pretty, probably, because I think these are riveted. Yeah, it looks like it's riveted. I'll see if I have some small rivets. If I don't, I'll probably just glue it. But there you go. I'm gonna go ahead and take a break. And then when we come back, we'll go ahead and move everything over and install it. Alright guys, if you can see, the new dash is in and it looks pretty dang good. It's a little bit dirty, but that'll clean up just fine. It's looking really nice. I went ahead, I got all the bolts in to hold it down, so that's good. I did pop this blank out to get the new one from the old dash in, and the old one kind of just completely fell apart. It was a little plastic tab on the back to pull out the connector, which is this guy right here. And it just broke itself. So I'd say if you're working on your dash, anything plastic, anything like these vents, the top vents on top, anything, really be careful with them, because they're just so they're aged from the sun and they're extremely brittle. So be very careful with those. One thing I wanted to say is I was looking at the wiring in the dash here, and it's a little bit different on mine, on the old one versus the new one, but I think it's still gonna work. You can see on this side we have a black and then a single, or no, sorry, this is for these gauge pods right here. Right here we have a white connector, a black connector, if you can see that. I'm sorry if you can't. White connector, black connector, and then on this side we have a white and a single. On my dash, it's reversed, where both of these are on that side and these two are on this side. So we're gonna go ahead and hope that it works correctly. Hopefully these will be able to reach far enough if they need to. I'm not sure what year this dash came from, so I can't say. My car's an 86. Let's go over here. You can see, if I flip this upside down for you guys, you can see I have the black connector and white connector over here, and then the white and the single on that side. So we're gonna hope, because this kind of does go out pretty far. I'll look at the actual dash gauge cluster itself and see how well that goes, because what we don't want is we don't want to have to get a new gauge cluster as well. And what I really don't want is have to pull out this wiring harness just to put it into that one. I would much rather just kind of get this one to work. But I guess it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world if I had to pull this harness. Other than I clipped it right there for my O2, the wideband sensor, so I'd have to redo that, and I'd have to take the dash out probably again in order to put the new harness, this harness in. I'm gonna go ahead and compare these connectors to the ones in the car. Maybe they just changed color. I kind of doubt it. This one is a 4 and a 2, and then we got a 3 and a 3. So let's go over here and see what we got. Yeah, this one's a 3 and a 3, and then a 4 and a 2. So hopefully this will work. Alright guys, as you can see, I have both dashes back out of the car. I did realize that this is just too much of a difference for it to work. This black connector needs to be all the way over here on the gauge cluster in order to properly fit in, as well as it doesn't have as many connections. You can see it's missing 2 there, but this black connector has all 4. So I'm pretty sure this is from an 87 through 89 car. Mine is an 86. So I'm pretty sure that they updated the dash harness a little bit through the years that they made it. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is just swap over the entire harness. A lot of it is just zip ties, you can see right here, or it's hard to see on something like this. It's a zip tie that also pushes into a little, like, I don't want to call it plastic rivet. It goes into a hole like that. You clip it in. You might be able to get it off from the back, or I'm just gonna cut this entire zip tie and then just zip tie it again around. And one other thing that I did notice, this is the old dash, remember. You can see this vent right here. This is the main vent, and then this is the mirror defrost. You can see how it's the same width the entire way. On the new dash, you can see it's quite different. The top mirror defrost is a lot smaller. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is, if I can, I'll remove this vent duct and put it on that one. It looks to be the same for all the rest of them. This is the one I actually pulled off of the old dash, so it's the same. And that one looks the same, and that one looks the same. So I'm pretty sure we're good. And the only other difference I've noticed is this little box right here. This is the new dash. This one has I'm pretty sure it looks like an electric bell. It's the chime that your car makes when you leave the key in the ignition. The car is off and you open the door so that you don't forget your keys in the ignition. The one on the old dash, if you can tell, is a little metal box. I believe this one is an actual bell. I'm not sure if the new one or the updated ones are. Those ones might be electronic. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is, it looks like it's just this bracket right here on both of them. I'll go ahead and swap the harness plus that over because I don't know if the plug for that will go into this one. And as well, I liked the sound that it makes already. I don't know if that one's going to be different, so I'd rather keep it the same. But I'm pretty sure those are the only differences. So I'm going to go ahead and swap out. I'm going to pull the old harness, this one, and put it into the new dash, that one. Alright, I got my harness swapped into the new dash. I also replaced this duct as well as that duct. This one, it looks to be the same, but you can see the foam on my old one was really nice, and the foam on these new ones, it's kind of skimpier, especially on that other far side. It looked like tape. It didn't even look like foam. So I went ahead and swapped mine over. Also, I have sentimental value because it's my car. Anyways, my dash harness, you can see right here, it's very cracked. It's basically because this sat in the sun for a very long time. This is a New Mexico car, and it got very hot. Everything is very brittle, which is probably why all my vents cracked as well. So I have a lot of this like sheathing that just cracked and broke off. So I'll go ahead and clean that up as best I can. I went ahead and just used regular zip ties and all these mounting points. I neglected to see that these zip ties, if I can zoom in on this real quick for you guys, if you can see, they're actually reusable. There's a little tab here you push up and it should undo it. I didn't notice that until I had cut all of them on both the old and the new dash. So if you're going to be doing this, definitely try to use the removable zip ties. They should work. And if not, just cut them and use new ones. I don't think I'm going to have any problems with mine. But there you go. So I got everything put back together in here. I'm going to go ahead and stick this dash back in the car now. This is the wire I was using for my wideband. I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of work cleaning this up first. Just trimming it back to get to the wires that I need. It just has this little sheath over it, and then I think some electrical tape. But I'll get to the wires that I need, and then once that's good, we can go ahead and stick it back in the car. Alright guys, as you can see, I've got everything back together and it is looking very nice. It did take me, I want to say, if you're going to do this for the first time, if you can do it all in one go, no stopping for anything, you probably do it in 3 to 4 hours. I was filming a little bit, so it took me a little bit longer. And especially if you can really just concentrate on just kind of pulling stuff apart, and then if you have to swap the dash harness, it takes a little bit longer. It really wasn't that bad though. But you can see everything's back together minus the cover for this. I will get that in just a second. But there you go guys. If you have any questions about what I did, go ahead and drop a comment down below. I'm super in love with this new dash. It looks really good. I do have a dash cover for it, so we're going to be able to protect it and keep it in this really nice, beautiful condition. So go ahead and let me know if you have any questions, and I will see you guys later.